All right, I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to put a timer, so if it's going then it's so, yeah, I'm in charge of the questioning part of this. So, by the way, if I haven't met you, my name's Chris. And I've been here for like 24 years and teaching all kinds of stuff. And I've been in the English department this whole time. And this is a part of something that I do a lot, and it's just, I didn't have training in this, but it's just kind of a natural part of my personality is to lead in and ask a lot of questions. So usually in the fine arts and in language, this will come very easy to all of you. You probably are already doing this. I'm probably not going to teach you anything that you don't already know. Some people, it's very difficult to do because you probably grew up in a classroom situation where you had teachers just downloading a lot of information, which is ironic because that's what I'm getting ready to do a little bit. But in a second, I'm going to have you practice this. Okay? So let me give you this handout really quick. So we just came through a training on hardness, and oh, great, thank you. And so this is one of the things that we are as a school leaning into heavily. Thanks, sir. And so even yesterday with Hope, she talked about having kids learn to ask really good questions. And then as you as a teacher, like how do you ask good questions? And so part of that, once again, is for some people, this is really intuitive, it's easy. And other people, like, this is hard, especially when it comes to things like essential questions. So essential questions are questions that she talked about yesterday, things that you want to keep maybe coming back to over and over again. Like an example of this really quick, like in the past I've taught The Great Gatsby, and one of the questions that we filter that novel through is that how is this novel a retelling of the story of the prodigal son? And so the students, they all know that story, that parable, they haven't read the novel. And so that's like, I have them tell me the story of the parable. And then as we work through the novel, it becomes clearer and clearer. So we keep coming back to that question over and over. So by the end of it, they're telling me, how does it work out in the novel to do that? Okay. So kinds of questions, and we're gonna get into this really quick. So these open-ended questions, or these essential questions, and one of the things I put on here is it needs to be kind of open-ended, and I'll give you an example of this in a second. It needs to be thought-provoking in some kind of way and engaging. I like to do groups a lot. I'm getting ready to do that with you as get a partner and see if you can do this. Questions that point towards some important or maybe a transferable idea. And sometimes this kind of goes across the curriculum. And language is the classic example of how to do that, right? So I was taught when I was in college, like reading and writing across the curriculum. So I was being taught how to teach comp. That's how that worked. How do you engage with other disciplines along the way and have people number 5, like a question that raises maybe additional questions, right? So you know you're onto something if you ask a question and then you have like different questions that come out of it. So the other class I got to teach for the last 5 years is worldview, and that's a trip in and of itself. And the two pictures, I'm going to show you 2 pictures in a second, and I've led with these 2 pictures the last 2 years. And it's a bit of a dark turn I'm getting ready to do with these 2 pictures, but it's really indicative of some ways that you can kind of engage people and then have them come up with questions about like what's going on here and how would I, what are you thinking through and how does this connect to a worldview topic theologically? You can do this in English and all kinds of ways. So yeah, it's going to raise maybe additional questions. Number 6. A question for the essential question, one that requires support, maybe in some kind of way, or some kind of justification. Like I do this a lot with students. They'll say something, and I'll say, well, that's interesting. Why do you think that? Tell me why you think that. How did you come to that conclusion? Because what if I press on that conclusion a little bit? What if I say, and I do it kindly, it's like, let me play devil's advocate. What if I said this to you? How would you respond back to me? So having them to justify what they say. And then the last one, a good essential question are ones that invite being asked and then re-asked again. So how's this novel a retelling of the parable of the prodigal son? So I'm just going to keep coming back to that question in some kind of way. So this is fine arts, language, once again, easier for you, right? I gave some examples because I know eventually we're going to rotate in with math and science. And this always like, how in the world would you do that? So I threw in some examples just for that sake, right? So if you're teaching a unit on statistics, so what does averaging mean? How do I know if these numbers, or how do I know if numbers are misleading? Why do we do graphs? I've always thought like if I were to teach calculus, which I had to take calculus in college, but I didn't know the story behind calculus. Like, why is there calculus? What does the word calculus mean? And how does that apply to what we study? Like the story behind it, in some kind of way. Can numbers and do numbers lie? Can you give me an example of that? What is it? This has a theological tint to it as well. But what does it mean to be fair? What is fair? What is accurate? What does that mean? What's the fairest way to go? So these kinds of questions that you can easily implement into any kind of curriculum that you do. Okay, here we go. So I'd like for you to, you can get into groups of 2 or 3. I'd like for you to come up with, really quick, maybe 2 essential questions, okay? And I'm gonna show you 2 pictures, and I snapped these 2 pictures, I screenshotted these 2 pictures 2 years ago, from the KNWA app. And the first one, it just really caught my attention, and I'll ask you something that stands out to you about this picture. But here we go. And it's a little dark, okay? It's a dark topic, but here we go. So there's a trial. Actually, this trial is still I think, maybe going on. But this lady, who's up in Benton County, it was a long sordid case, but she and a cohort of hers lured this lady via the internet and ended up murdering her. The lady was pregnant, and the child was killed as well. It was horrific. And what caught my attention was the title of the article. And I read the article and I followed the case a little bit. Woman accused of killing pregnant woman that's added charge for killing unborn child. Does anything stand out to you about that?
The unborn, like the unborn child.
It's the unborn child part, right? And that's what stood out to me. Why?
Well, because the other side of it would be abortion, which would be legal, but if the mom got murdered, well then they're adding it as a human there, but not a human with abortion.
That's right.
I think just the word unborn child instead of fetus
Yes.
changes the feel of the title.
So how does it change the feel?
Well, because if you refer to it as a fetus, it's not human.
You're
Not according to me, but according to the culture.
The humanizing language
Right.
over
The
the
tongue.
scientific
Right.
language
Right.
of it.
Yeah.
Right. 38 minutes later.
Mm.
I
Interesting.
hadn't read that.
I know you did. Yeah, that's really good, right? 38 minutes later, there was an editor reposted and changed it. Okay, so a pregnant woman's killer charged for killing fetus. So I put these 2 pictures in front of seniors, and we start dissecting this a little bit. Okay, so here's what I'd like for you to do. You and your little table partner group, can you come up with maybe 1 or 2 essential questions to ask concerning these 2 pictures? So I'll turn that over to you for a second.
I'm Jody, by the way.
No, you're right. Right.
Wait, I think we met. I think you were, okay.
Carol, do you want to join our group?
I guess that's a good question.
Carol, you can't, you're not in the group by yourself.
I want your wisdom.
You were.
I know, but
Do the words
it can't all be me.
change the perception?
I think
What we're saying for a higher order of thinking, or I thought
Yeah, like what caused the revision. No, I think maybe not offending everyone else reading the article, because it's more.
Because part of it also is like the whole
I just think
is to not guess.
All right. You got something? I know I'm rushing you a little bit, and you may not got two. Got one? As long as you got one, we're good.
So it's the same author.
Yeah, because that's.
Let's just go around and hear what you think.
Do we know if it's the same author?
Yeah.
Like,
Of the article?
do we know?
We don't know that.
Oh,
Well, we can assume that, I guess.
We have a reporter, and then there's probably an editor of the web page, I would assume,
Mhm.
or the app that, yeah, so yeah.
But it was from the same source?
It was same source,
Okay, it
yeah,
wasn't like you saw it on
KNWA,
Facebook.
same source, 38 minutes.
Okay.
And what got me out of this is, it stood out that they would have used unborn child, and then bam, I saw that, and for whatever reason, the prompting of it, I screenshotted the first one, and
Uh-huh.
then it was just golden,
Yeah.
right? And then that's what we lead with.
What a great one for worldview as well.
Oh, yeah. No, it's perfect, it's perfect. So I'm all the time scouring, like, especially local news. All right, what did you come up with? What's the question?
So our first question is, how does the term fetus impact the interpretation by the viewer of the severity of the crime?
Perfect. That's right.
Big brain question.
Yeah, and you were kind of already on that as well, like if you start changing unborn child to fetus, by the way, is that technically true? Is it fetus?
There's
Sure, yeah. But it changes, right? Because now we've introduced the scientific terminology, and now you change the emotion of it, right? It's totally reconstructed it, right? What did you guys come up with?
I wondered, regarding whoever made the change, if it was the author or editor, what was their intention with that change? Was it just to shorten the headline, or was there another kind of charged intent?
Yeah. Why did the editor change the language? Right? What was the intent?
different perspective, but same
What's the worldview implication of changing that language?
Because they also took accused out of it, it made it more definitive than the
That's
second
right.
one, so.
That's exactly right. Yeah. What'd you guys say?
I said, why does a media outlet feel the need to neutralize language in headlines?
Hello.
Yeah, that's really good. And that you can apply, that's a larger question that goes beyond the bounds of these two pictures. Yeah.
We pretty much said what they said, like what was the reasoning behind the author changing the title, just the rewording of it. And what maybe feedback were the news place getting in those 30 minutes of changing from unborn child to fetus.
That's right. Yeah, these are great. These are essential questions, right? And notice too, I could have come in here and just given you the essential questions. I had you do it, right? So by me having you do it, it further, it's not gonna be perfect when you have students do that. But then you can start discussing this, even not just beyond the bounds of just the topic or the picture. Now we can start thinking through just how they formulated a question. And it's their buy into that as well. Yeah. Questions to me? Oh, thumbs up.
Perfect timing.
All right, so I will be in and out of your classroom this year, not to judge you, please don't think that, but just to be a help. So I want you to think of me as to be a help. And I don't have all the answers, I don't pretend to, but I really do want to help. And so, yeah.